Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Bird Flock podcast. We got another guest today. Former 2016 third rounder from Western University, two-time OUA first team All-Star, two-time CIS first team All-Canadian, the center for the Montreal Alouettes, Shayne Jamieson. First off, Shayne, I just want to thank you, for hopping on, taking the time and speaking with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we're just gonna kick it off here and talk about how you're feeling. And I know that knee, you had a late knee injury. So how are you feeling? How's that knee feeling?
Yeah, it's coming along. I'm about 14 weeks post-op the ACL reconstruction, so it's slowly but surely coming back and kind of getting into some more weighted exercises now, squats and lunges. So that's nice to kind of get back into that. And it's been a grind, but just kind of looking forward to finishing up this rehab as fast as I can and hopefully getting back on the field soon.
Yeah, and what's your target for that? When are you expecting to get back on the field?
Yeah, so they say 6 to 9 months. So I had my surgery at the end of November, so that would kind of put us kind of end of May to end of August, somewhere in there. So we'll see. I mean, best case scenario would be not missing any time, and worst case would be probably miss about half the season. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I know this isn't really your first kind of big knee injury, but how does it like change your off-season approach to the way you're working out and everything?
Yeah, I mean, so like this is my first major knee injury where like I needed a big surgery, and it's like obviously a long rehab. As far as changing the off-season program, like previously we do kind of two big upper body lifts a week, and then two big lower body lifts a week, and then kind of some core and some pump in there as well. But now it's more three big upper body lifts a week, and then a lot of rehab on the other days where I'm not in the gym doing the upper body. It's really going in to do rehab on the knee.
Yeah, and let's get away from that and let's talk about some good news in your career with the Montreal Alouettes here. So obviously out of Western, you were drafted to be a guard. Obviously, like I said earlier, you were moved to center. You played center for the Alouettes this year. How long was that adjustment period for you to transition from the guard to the center position?
I mean, like it's been kind of crazy. Like since I got drafted, I've started at four different spots on the O line. So like I've been all over. It's the adjustment wasn't too hard. As a guard and when I was playing tackle even, I did I did my homework and tried to know kind of that at least the whole thing is what the offensive line was doing. So the move to center wasn't too hard like that. Making the calls was kind of the big adjustment, but Luke kind of let me know beforehand that was going to be happening. So I kind of was able to prepare a little bit more and be ready for that. Get the snaps going. That was the one thing was the snapping was a big adjustment.
So now you're kind of fully comfortable in that role and ready to excel in it, or?
Yeah, I mean, wherever they need me is where I'll play, or whatever they want to do. That's their job as the coaches to kind of put together the best five guys and put them where they think they'll succeed. So whatever Luke or Coach Moss tells me is what they need is what I would try to do.
Yeah, as much as you say that, I'm sure it was still kind of weird to hear it. So, like, what was your first thoughts when they were like, "Yeah, we're putting you at center now," after you'd already played tackle and guard?
I mean, it was I've known Luke a long time. Obviously, like he was our center when I got drafted to the Alouettes, and so he was the one who told me. And we had a pretty in-depth talk about why it was happening and what was going on, and I wasn't too like shocked. I think Luke kind of always thought I could be a pretty good center, so that was just kind of him tinkering around with the O line. He thought Chris Matt was a better guard than center, and he thought I could fit the role of center well. So I wasn't like thrown off or upset or anything. It was more just just trying to learn everything to be a good center. And I had obviously had a great coach for that. Luke being a center for a long time for the Alouettes has been a great mentor for me.
Yeah, you just kind of touched on my next question was what's it like learning from Luke after he excelled the position, especially in Montreal for so long?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, Luke is like a guy who, like, since I got to Montreal, I've looked up to, and he was a great player. He's a great guy, and he's a great coach now. And um, to learn from him it's been a blessing, because obviously kind of getting put in a position where I haven't played it before, to have a coach who did it and kind of knows and has been through it all. He's really understanding with, if something isn't being picked up right away by me in the beginning or whatever. He's not quite as understanding now, but it's been good. It's been really good to have Luke there and teaching us the ropes.
And you said before, like, you played with him. So when you first got into the coaching um scene in Montreal, obviously I know you guys are professionals, but like, how hard was the adjustment for you and him to kind of be like, all right, he's not just one of the guys I'm playing with. Like, I actually have to pay attention to what's going on here.
I mean, Luke is kind of the first guy to tell you, like, as much as he is a coach, like he wants to be more of like in the role of like a teammate more than like a coach. Like, he is never the guy that's going to say like he'll obviously tell us what to do, but if one of us has like a qualm or something where we are going to say like we'd rather do it this way or we'd rather make this call, he's the first guy that's like, okay, like we can do it your way, and if it doesn't work, like we'll go back to my way. But so like the adjustment has been pretty easy, because he's still kind of just one of the guys to all of us that played with him. And even to the new guys coming in, it feels like, he's just another guy in the room. Like, as much as he is a coach, like uh he goofs around with us, he jokes around, and we get our business done at the end of the day. But it hasn't been like a crazy transition of like, like I still text Luke as a friend more than like as a coach and a player.
And today, I think it was today, they announced the coaching staff, and obviously he's back as the O-line coach. How important is that stability for your unit to have the same guy year in, year out?
Yeah, it's huge. Obviously, like in the since I've been drafted to the Alouettes, there's been a bit of a coaching carousel, but it's been nice to have a stable piece in our O-line coach, at least for the last 3 years now. And a guy that kind of, I'm sure, the offensive lingo will change with the new OC and things like that, but at least in the O-line room, kind of, we'll all kind of still be on the same page as far as what we're talking about. So that'll be nice, and that'll be good.
Yeah, and you just talked about the kind of coaching carousel in Montreal. Always seems to switch after 2 or 3 years for some reason. But last year was kind of an early in-season change. You guys started off slow. I think you started off 2-6. Um, so can you take us through kind of the difficulties of the coaching staff changes halfway through the season like that?
I mean, that's difficult. I feel like last year, especially, like I really got along with Carr. He was a guy like I idolized growing up in Winnipeg. Um, it's tough because you're kind of, you go into the season and you have this expectation, and then it kind of just gets flipped on its head. And I thought Danny did a good job stepping in. He was a good leader of men, I thought. But yeah, it's definitely not like an easy thing to just kind of walk in one day and your higher ups are just all these new people, and you kind of got to rebuild this rapport. And the nice thing was, obviously Danny was in the building with us before before Kahari had been fired, so it wasn't like it was a brand new face coming in and somebody that we had to like learn how to talk to, and if you could joke around with them and stuff like that. We already had a feel for Danny, so that was nice. But it's definitely not like an easy thing to just kind of go through a coaching change or anything kind of mid-season.
Yeah, and then guys came alive in the second half. Finished 9-9, I believe it was. Went to the East Final. Eventually, obviously losing to the Grey Cup champs. But aside from that coaching change, what really changed in the locker room that it kind of clicked for you guys for you to get the season back on track?
Honestly, like I don't know if I could pinpoint anything as far as like a major change that took place and we all hopped on. We had some players only meetings, which is kind of what seems to happen at make or break points of the year, where we either have to turn this around like now, or the season's kind of dead. And so we had maybe one or two of those, and kind of got our business done. But I wouldn't like say there was like one specific thing. It wasn't like we went through a huge like change of personnel on the field and stuff like that. It was just the team that they had put together kind of finally was able to start producing wins, and that was it was a nice way to finish the season.
And now jumping into this year, obviously new coach again, Jason Moss coming in. Have you talked to him a little bit about how he's going to change the offense? And I think it might have been Tyson Philpott we had on. He came on. He said he wants to run a lot of like no huddle and stuff like that. Have you heard anything about that?
So I haven't heard anything about that. I haven't talked to Coach Moss yet, so I'm not 100% sure on the changes. I have talked to Luke a little bit, and he said there is going to be some changes, but we haven't gotten to the nitty gritty of it. So I'm not 100% sure on what is going to be changing. But I mean, yeah, I guess hopefully I can talk to Coach Moss soon, and if not, I'll see. I'll see what I see.
Hmm. And as for you, like when you normally come down, do you only come down to Montreal for training camp, or are you living here now?
No, yeah. So I usually only spend the season in Montreal. So most years I would go back to London, Ontario, and do some training there. We got a good group of guys in the CFL that we kind of train with there. This year I'm in Winnipeg for the off season. I had my surgery here, so just doing follow up with the surgeon here and kind of having a physiotherapy staff and a trainer or a gym here that I could go to. Just kind of worked out that way where I stayed in Winnipeg this off season.
And do you have any like some of your current teammates with the Alouettes that are out there that you could train with or talk to and hang out with out there?
So, I mean, it's. I actually saw Brock Gowanlock on the weekend, who's a young DN that we got, and it was good to see him. But being from Winnipeg and growing up here, and I haven't spent a lot of time here since I left in 2012. It's been a lot of trying to catch up with people who I've not like fallen apart with, but just haven't seen in a long time and stuff like that. So I feel like I've been spending more time trying to catch up with a lot of people than trying to talk to teammates and stuff. I've obviously texted and stuff with a lot of guys on the O line, but I haven't seen Brock too much. I think he's the only guy who's out here in Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm. And now let's get to the new faces that the Alouettes signed. Obviously, new quarterback coming in, Trevor Harris out, Cody Fajardo in. How much is playing with a mobile quarterback like Cody Fajardo, a guy that moves around in the pocket a lot, can run? Like how is it? How does it benefit the O line or hurt the O line? I guess in some cases compared to a pocket passer like Trevor Harris was for the last couple years.
Yeah, I mean, it can be a double-edged sword for sure. If protection breaks down, he can probably buy that extra few seconds and get the ball out. But if he gets a little happy in the pocket and breaks when he doesn't need to, and then playing contain could bring him down. So, but I'm excited to get to work with Cody and see what he's got. And he's obviously been a great quarterback in this league before, and um, I'm excited to see what he brings to Montreal. I think he's going to bring his best self there, and him and Coach Moss will kind of make it work. And I think it's going to look good.
Definitely talking to him. He seems like he has a big chip on his shoulder. So, it's going to be exciting to watch. Another guy that brought in last year's CFL All Star at the center position, Justin Lawrence. Obviously, the key word was at the center position. So, back to our conversation before, are you kind of expecting to switch positions again?
Yeah, I have no idea what to expect, honestly. Obviously, Justin's a great player and been a great center. So if I assume they probably signed him to play center, and if so, like if they want me to play center when I come back from this knee injury, I'll come in and compete the best I can and do what I can. But yeah, if they want to move me around or put me somewhere else, and then like I said, if whatever kind of helps the team best, helps the O line best, is what I'd be willing to do.
Yeah, and another guy you guys obviously brought in Justin Lawrence on the O line. You brought another Canadian guy in Jesse Gibbon in a trade from Edmonton. So have you spoken to those two and kind of gotten a feel of their games and what they're expecting to do when they come to Montreal?
No, I haven't spoken to either of them yet, to be honest. Me and Justin Lawrence followed each other on Instagram. I don't think me and Gibbon followed each other yet, but I haven't really done too much reaching out yet to the new guys. I did a lot of saying goodbye to some old teammates kind of when free agency was going on more than reaching out to the new guys. That'll all come around. I mean, I always felt like camp is like the best time to, get to know someone and chat with someone. But, if if it happens before then, great. And if not, then, I'll meet those guys in camp and I'm sure, we'll all get along. I know Dave Brown, I went to college with, who's on the O line with us in Montreal. He knows Justin Lawrence pretty well and has vouched for him, said he's a good guy. So yeah.
Yeah, just speaking to Justin Lawrence, he brought up David Brown too. So maybe that's a connection that helps get the new guys in. But just two more questions before we wrap it up. I don't want to take too much of your time. You're obviously a busy guy. So, um, more to the offensive line unit here. How close are you guys really off the field, and how much do you guys spend time off the field together and all that stuff?
Yeah, I'd say we're pretty like tight knit group. Like Christian is a like a great leader of the O line. He lives off the island on the North Shore, so we don't see him too much outside of football. But I'd say the rest of us, we hang out quite a bit. Obviously, like me knowing Dave from college helps, and me being drafted the same year as Phil Gagnon, like we're really good buddies and hang out outside of football. We usually try to get together for dinner, I'd say once a week, and when we're on road trips, like we all go out for dinner together usually. So yeah, like we're really really close, I would say, and like we text each other in the off season, keep up with each other. So we got a good group of guys, and excited to see them again.
Yeah, and obviously everybody that kind of watches football sees and notices that the center is really the leader of the offensive line. So how much are you kind of involved in setting everything up off the field and stuff like that with that group?
A little bit. I would say it's kind of a team effort usually. If someone has something that they want to do or something, they'll usually throw it out and see if it sticks. If I think go-karting was thrown around last year. We didn't actually do it, but just kind of something that got thrown out there. We usually just go out for food. Sometimes I make the reservations, sometimes someone else does it. It's not, I would say off the field, it's more of a collective effort than me being the dad of the group, even though I look the part.
And then my last question here before I let you go. In my life, and me and my other host Dawson, we both played O-line growing up, so he played at a higher level than me, so we kind of know the brotherhood. But never in my life have I met an O-lineman that I didn't want to go out and have a beer with. So my question for you is, now you're kind of used to going around Montreal and stuff. What's kind of your favorite spot to go and grab a beer after a big win in Montreal?
So a spot we've been going to recently in like in more recent years is Pub St. Pierre on it's on St. Pierre, Rue St. Pierre, down in the old port there. It's kind of close to the Evo, which is where a lot of guys live. It's close to where I was living last year. So yeah, we usually kind of head down there for a pint or two after a big win, and kind of celebrate and just have a few laughs together.
All right, perfect. All right, Sean, man, I just want to thank you again for hopping on with us. It means a lot. I know you're a busy guy, so appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys having me on, and all the best to you.
Yeah, for sure. Good luck this season, man.
Thanks a lot.